All right, so welcome to yet another Night Hacking at DevOps episode. Our final guest of the day is Josh Long from Spring Source. Hi, Josh.
Hey, dude. Thanks for having me. That's pivotal these days, by the way.
Okay, yeah, from Pivotal.
New company, same Spring team, same Spring goodness, just a new company along with Cloud Foundry and all that stuff, you know.
I'm one of those old timers who still thinks.
It took me. You can still get me at josh.long@springsource.com. You know, it's totally works.
Okay, cool. And we're gonna try to show some live hacking today. So I'm gonna switch over to desktop right after I actually put that Josh is speaking here in the subtext header.
Mind you,
Josh is hacking. All right, so now you're actually hacking in the subtext.
Sweet. Let me.
And let's get your desktop up.
Is it not up? Oh yeah.
So we can watch your mad finder skills here too.
Right.
So what are you going to show us today?
Well, I wanted to talk to you guys about Spring Boot. We've been showing to people at the booth, and it's been well received. So I figured that'd be a useful enough thing to talk about. And actually I gave a presentation about it at the university session with the good Dr. David Sire on Monday. Reception's been pretty good, so if you'll indulge me, we'll talk about it here.
Yeah. So let's do Spring Boot in 5 minutes.
Well,
Ready, set, boot.
Okay, so I'm gonna cheat. We're gonna use Groovy first, you know, like Groovy's. It's super finesse, you know.
Luke was here earlier. He was doing groovy stuff. So yeah.
It's a great way to go. I have a backup copy. Remember, I'm actually for the viewers. I'm using my friend's keyboard. My laptop is in another place, so I'm using an English keyboard. So forgive the awkward pecking, you know, hunting pecking. So app 2, whatever. And the idea is we're going to focus attention on what matters when we develop. As often as not, that's something you can do by focusing on convention over configuration. So I've got a directory here called app2. It's just sort of empty. Can you guys see that in the shell there? Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is plenty big.
Good. So touch. I'm going to actually go ahead and open up a file here. Mate. What is it? Night hacking. .groovy. Look good. Is that about right?
Yep, perfect.
Okay. So we'll start here. I will fumble around with the keyboard here. I'm going to create a RESTful service. This is just going to, do a basic thing. It's going to show people. It's going to show a RESTful endpoint, but you'll see there's more to it than that. Yeah. Greeting controller with any luck. The idea is here. I'm just going to use the Spring MVC 4, which is due at the end of this year, by the way, component model to stand up a RESTful endpoint. And that will take all of maybe a few minutes if I had my A game on and I was typing as fast as I could.
On a British keyboard with really tiny shift keys and weird funk going on.
It's all weird. String. And plus, I suppose you need to be a good typist to be a programmer, huh?
I remember I was at one of these Agile conferences and they were doing, one of those like hacking with the stars or things, but... Yeah. One of the groups had funky ergonomic keyboards.
I like it. I have an ergo keyboard at home. That's the other thing.
Which one do you use?
I'm one of those guys that. So I've been using the Microsoft Natural Keyboard. The only thing I liked from Microsoft ever, was the Microsoft and the Xbox. I suppose was pretty good, but that keyboard, my God, it was amazing. And I got it first one back in 2001. They used to have the white ones divided, and then I think they or somebody else sued Logitech away from being able to do good ergo keyboard. So it was really the only game in town. And then, for I don't know, last 5-6 years, they have the black ones instead of the white ones they used to have. So I actually remember loading up on white ones from eBay, and those lasted me up until I absolutely had to make the jump into the black ones, So I used to keep a spare keyboard in my luggage for traveling. So now, even today, when I'm doing conference talks, it's awkward enough on a regular Mac that I understand. On this English one, I'm just...
What do you think of those Kinesis, like clamshell, like the upside-down clamshell ones where you have to kind of like curve your fingers around? And
there's something to it, right? I mean, as long as you're not doing your wrist, that's where and there's something about the blood flow. I don't claim to know it too much. I just know that the Microsoft keyboard, literally within a week, I had no more pain, Interesting. Okay. So this is just a RESTful controller. The idea is it's going to listen on port 8080 for requests coming into that endpoint, and I'm going to take the variable in the URI and pass it into the RESTful endpoint, and it's going to return an object. This is just a groovy cheat for returning an object, yeah? So I've got this little command line tool. You can get it on homebrew or GVM, or just download it if you want. It's called Spring. I'm going to go with spring run nighthacking.groovy, and this is going to go ahead and start up with any luck, assuming my Groovy's valid syntax. This is a fairly underwhelming Mac, so that's not good. Okay. I assume that's it. So that's, nothing fancy, right? Very basic endpoint there. Right. Okay. But the idea with Spring Boot is to really optimize for production, and optimize for developers as well. We want a little bit of both, so I'm going to go ahead and use the Grape dependency resolution engine and use the grab annotation. So I'm going to say Spring Boot starter, and this is going to actually pull down a Maven dependency for me. Actuator, yeah. Oops, like so. Reboot. If I was confident enough, I could actually use the -W command. Sort of avoid all this rebooting, but whatever. Let's see. So this same old thing as before, but now I get metrics about my application. I can see the application itself, the stack frames that's in the environment. I can look at that. I can look at metrics themselves about the actual requests that are coming in back and forth on the application. So here's how many here's how many 200 calls were made. Success at status code 200 calls were made to the dump endpoint, etc. How many processors I've got, memory, etc. I can add a lot more. I can even, optimize for further. I can say, okay, I want to, I want to secure this stuff. A lot of the stuff should be secured first. So I'm going to go ahead and add this security dependency, and then I'm going to go ahead and add, and I'll speak to this in a minute. That dependency there. Command C for some reason takes forever. Here we are. By the way, that's some of the best, finest ASCII art I've ever seen. But it is optional. You can actually disable it.
Any good open source project needs ASCII art logos.
Absolutely, exactly. Okay, so this is, by the way, this is convention. So anybody who's ever used Spring MVC will notice that it's looked at the Spring MVC code and realized it's a Spring app, and it'll start up a web server for us. It does this based on the presence of certain libraries in the class path. So, for example, Tomcat's present in my class path. If I had Jetty, it would do that just fine. If I wanted to deploy, I could actually use the Java version, for example, and deploy to, I can also get a standalone jar, or I can get a WAR, just like you would for legacy environments, One thing I did is I turned on security, and by default, that security is going to look for certain properties and give me certain information. So the user that I need for my application now, because it's locked down, is user. The password is here on the shell. I'm going to grab that. Go to the metrics endpoint, so it's user, right? Oh, whoops, it's user. I think it's password for the HTTP endpoint. No. Hey, buddy. I forget what the default one is, so I'm just go ahead and specify it myself. Okay. Mate application.properties.
Yeah, so if any demo on this program works right the first try, then we know for sure that it was canned.
Well, so much for that train, huh? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to just copy a file. I know. But that's what it's doing, right? So that's the, it's a security.user.name equals Spring and password. You can name it whatever you want. And I'm telling Spring Boot to go ahead and use the Spring Authentication Manager for both the shell and for the HTTP endpoints. Now that that's there, I've got a total of 2 files, one of which is a property file, and I'm just going to run the same thing again. I did the university talk on Monday, and of course we had released M6 the night before. So I got up on stage, and part of my demos had been updated, the others hadn't. Demo train fail, man. It was so sad. Awkward. Okay. So the same stuff is available there. Do you guys remember Firefox?
No, I have no idea what that is.
It's a thing, man. It's going to be big one day. You just watch. People are going to be using it No, God, no. I just kidding. I don't actually. Gee whiz. So, Spring. Okay, so all the endpoints are there are secured. Same as before, right? I have a dump, the env endpoint, etc. One thing I really quite like, I can actually now do SSH port 2000, Spring at localhost. English keyboard much? localhost, password Spring as well. And now I'm logged into the Spring Boot like shell there, the console. Can you guys see that in your? There you are. I'm going to use the help command. This takes, for some reason, a long time to get help. I don't understand why. Everything else is very quick. So we're just going to wait awkwardly. Maybe we could fast forward in the video just for that one part. There we are.
I think the idea is that whenever you're giving someone help, you need an awkward pause to let them figure it out for themselves.
Yeah. You have a choice. You can wait for this or RTFM, but we don't want them to actually feel that sensation. So that should be quicker, I think. Anyway, it's a shell, right? And by the way, the second time you run help, as you know, it's very quick, right? So system, I can say, okay, what does my environment look like? You know, what properties I have in the environment. I can say JVM system itself. I can look at the heap, etc. There's a lot of actually, really cool stuff in there. For me, the wow factor, dashboard. Right?
That's pretty cool.
Let's see.
So they really believe in ASCII art in this project. That's like part of the goal here.
Absolutely. There you are. It gives you kind of a dashboard. That word is exactly right. It's a dashboard. Very comprehensive view of what's happening in your application, how much memory is being used. You have top for Java, basically. I mean, this is built on top of the Crash D project, which is an amazing, awesome library. Libraries. I don't know, really, really convenient. So we're optimizing for people who want to get up and running. They want to have a way to monitor and manage their application. Obviously, if you go to your web service and you want to see the health, there's even a health endpoint there. So that's groovy. Obviously, that's kind of cheating because it's so concise. For a lot of people, we want people to get started quickly. So Spring, by the way, has a new home on the web. It's spring.io. We have a bunch of guides here that are 10 to 15 minutes each. People want to learn about how to build a web service. They want to learn how to use data access or do Android or to work with Facebook's API or Redis for messaging and all these things. RabbitMQ, they can. They're 10 to 15 minutes, and each one of them comes with complete working code set. They can just skip ahead and see how it works. And an initial one that's kind of a build file in the folder structure, and that's it. And they're all built with Spring Boot. That's the reason I mention it. There's also a great little thing here. If you're using STS, which is our Eclipse distribution, it's a superset of the latest and greatest Eclipse, then you don't need this particular feature. But if you aren't, and you're absolutely fine, of course, start.spring.io, you go here, you kind of go shopping. I want web, I want actuator and security and all this stuff, and it'll give you a zip with a Maven project ready to use. We're going to go ahead and use the one in here because we're on TV and we got to hurry up. But before I do that, let me boogie out of here. Common source of demo fails. Port 8080 is already being taken.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've done that one before on my demos.
Yeah, just like there's no reason it had to suck, but it did. Okay, so Spring. Close this guy here. Oops. Go away. Sorry. File new Spring starter project. This is the same as that that wizard, that dialog you saw on the website there. Night hacking org dot night hacking. Yeah, demo. Just do it. Whoa. Shoot.
Oh, they want to give you a new Firefox version.
Hey man, Evergreen is the way. I like that. Evergreen web services. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose web and actuator just to move along. So all this is doing is going to that same web service, by the way. It's just giving me, you can actually just copy the URL and that'll give you it'll serve you up a zip file with everything you need pre-configured. In my case, the information, the actual application itself lives here, yeah. So if you go here and you look, you'll see it's just a directory, it's like so. So most of that is the target directory, but then you've got an application class, an application test, and a Maven Palm. That's it, I go in here, I can see the code, the actual unit test written for me and everything, nothing special. The application class, this is the Java version, so, okay, Eclipse, wake up. Ready. Refresh. There you are. So this is the entry point into the application. It's a very, very simple. It's public static void main. In Groovy, we can afford to cheat and get away with it, But here you need to have something telling what to do. Again, I'll go ahead and cheat here. I'm going to optimize for time. So a greeting controller again. Actually, do you mind if I just copy and code?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Somebody's got to do it. So there you are.
Of course, it's only fine if you copy good code.
What about simple code? That's a virtue, right? Greeting controller. So all I'm doing is recreating that same basic thing we saw earlier. You know, the RESTful service. You know.
It's been a long day. It's not you. It's me.
It's those seats in the theater too. You know.
Oh yeah, the seats in the DevOps session rooms are so comfortable, but I've been on these hard chairs all day, so now I'm tired. You've been resting all day.
I've been over there. Look at that crowd, man. We've been dancing around talking to people about this all day.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, so this is just a nonsensically simple Pojo, nothing special. Just returning a greeting, and the idea is you go to this endpoint, same as before. Other than that, it's just this entry point. It's an application class with @enable auto configuration that tells Spring Boot, hey, based on the presence of certain things in the class path, do for me what you can. So, for example, if Tomcat is there, it'll start up the Tomcat web server, servlet spec, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, hit run as a Java application. And this will go ahead and start up, you know, just as before. Localhost. So I've got the same as before, right? Hi, Stephen, I don't know. Which one do you like?
Steve, Steven, Stefan, your choice.
There we are. So it's same as before. All the metrics are there as well. You know, up and running very quickly. I ran that with public static void main, right? It's very easy to work with. We have a plugin that we're using in Maven. You don't have to use it, of course, but if you want to, it certainly helps to make this as concise and sort of portable and palatable as possible. So I'm going to copy that path, CD there, voila. And I'm going to go ahead and Maven clean install this bad boy. This will download the internet, so bear with me here. Ran the unit test. It might fail because we're already online, yep. Again. Port 8080. It's the bane of our existence, is that port. It should just randomly increment and then tell us where it's going. This doesn't have SSD, so it's unfortunately very slow. Anywho, go to the target directory. Here's what I think a lot of people are going to be interested in is we have, of course, the original jar, which is for all of 4 kilobytes, right, for code and whatever classes. But we actually have a second jar here that's, you know, that one. And that is, oh, not has, it's HS. So 19 megs, and that includes, oh, I'm in the wrong directory. That's even worse. Guys.
Your pair programmer's asleep at the wheel here, literally.
Well, what do you see? You got questions? Thoughts? Feedback?
Yeah, where are my fries and beer?
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna go grab a burger at La Quick or whatever it is right down the street. You know. Okay, so I built it again. This time I'm at the target directory. You know, DOHUS demo. So that's 9 megs. So I didn't have the SSH shell on this one. But the idea is you have a jar. It's actually very easy to use. You can deploy it into any cloud environment. It works in public static void main, works in any environment you normally work with. And again, as usual, you just start it, and you can take that one jar and you have a working application. It's so simple that even I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you and I worked before on a JavaFX and Spring sort of RESTful service, and I just think this would have been a lot more fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. This would have been a cool technology integration project. So that's awesome. And it was almost 5 minutes.
Oh my God! Was it
for the groovy version?
Oh, for the groovy one, yeah.
Yeah.
The Java one.
Well, you know, we went through a few hoops and did various stuff. So that was very cool. We have.
Oh, questions, yeah.
Yeah, we have a bunch of people on the stream. So if you'd like to ask us questions, just pop in chat.
Oh yeah.
And
all the questions, guys.
Type a question in the chat session.
Spring developer advocate. All the open source Spring stuff we're happy to talk about. And of course, now as part of Pivotal, people have questions like, where are we? What are we doing? You know. So I'm happy to indulge any of those.
Oh, and one of the new things which I'm announcing is we're going to be doing a new night hacking regular bi-monthly hack sessions.
Nice.
So every first and third week of the month in California, I'll be doing it like 10 a.m. on Thursdays. But we'll also be having user groups and folks involved in Europe here who will do co-hacking. And would you like to join us for a future hack session?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'd love it. Please.
All right, so we'll have to plan a spring hack session and then get a bunch of user groups and folks involved, or you guys who are watching the stream or the recording here who want to join us for live hacking.
Yeah, that'd be great. Look forward to seeing you guys there as well. Oh, that is awkward. 11%.
All right, cool. Let me pop back to our video.
Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah, so I already gave you a night hacking sticker, right, before?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm out.
It's okay. I have it in my. Yeah, it's at home.
Well, that's not your laptop, but I think your laptop.
This is a very tricked out laptop too. Look at that. Look at that. This is my buddy Andy Piper.
Yeah.
Great. He's a Cloud Foundry ninja. He let me borrow it, and I quickly brew installed the Spring command line tool there, and got this all ready for the talk.
Yes, that proves how easy this is to do on your own machine if you're watching this at home.
Oh yeah, well, brew install homebrew baby on OS 10. Of course you don't need it, but it's one way to go. Yeah. Well, okay.
All right, cool. So thanks for hopping in.
Thank you.
Doing some hacking on the live stream.
Carry the discussion online. This has been a great thing, but it's kind of one way, So, at Starbucks Man, and I'm sure if you get questions, you'll forward them to me. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you,
Yep.
guys.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.
Cheers, dude.